Hi, everyone. Jungle Jim Jerome. Another episode of Inside Curling post-Olympics. Baby, okay. Kev, I almost couldn't get to the show. Kevin Martin, of course, the gold medalist, 2010 Vancouver Olympics, and many other accolades. Kev, here's the secret. You get baby potatoes, okay? You slice them up. You soak them in oil. You use the herbs de Provence, and I think oregano. Okay, the absolute best. It's the absolute best. Yeah. What an Olympics it was. I don't think you heard one of our guests, saying it's time sensitive because you're cooking. You're cooking, Corey.
Yeah, but I'm not cooking with that herb de moi.
No, herb de Provence.
Whatever that one was.
Yeah, herb de.
I don't have that one in the seasoning cabinet, so I might need to Google that one.
That is the voice of Korey Dropkin and Korey Thiesse. Join us, the two Koreys who are fresh back from the Olympics a week now. And congratulations to both of you. You went to Italy, and you came back with a little extra luggage, baby. With a little extra luggage. Silver medalists in the mixed doubles. Way to go to both of you. Korey, are you cooking, Korey Thiesse? The other?
I am not yet.
Okay. No, you okay. Congratulations.
Sam's not on that tonight, Cor?
No, it's definitely me.
Oh.
Ooh, no. Oh, no. Little dig there to Sam. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where should we start with you guys? Congratulations. It's I know it's always tough, maybe for a minute or two or an hour. Maybe we'll start with Corey D. That you've decompressed now from it. What a game! I think 6-5 was 6-5 was the score in the gold medal game against Sweden. They were the champs. You've had a chance, like I said, Corey, to decompress. When you look back at all of it, how do you sum it all up?
Yeah, I mean, it was an amazing week, amazing month, experience of a lifetime, and dreams coming true. We worked so hard to get there, and to be able to represent our country on the Olympic level is something that we've been thinking about since we were 10 years old. So it was just it was a blessing to be there, to just be playing the sport that we love to play, and to be in that gold medal game. We had a great week. I'm super proud of how we battled, and we had to be quite gritty, especially throughout the middle part of that week, and come up with some big wins late to just get into playoffs. But it was just so special to play in front of our family and so many friends that showed up for us, and playing in front of that Italian crowd, especially in that semifinal game. It was wild, just exchanging, big shots and big hits, momentum swings, and a crowd that showed up for both sides. Vibrations of cheers throughout the stadium. Goosebumps. It was a privilege. It was amazing to be able to pull that one out. So proud to be bringing that silver medal home, and just nice to be home too, to be able to relax and celebrate with the folks around here.
Outstanding breakdown, my friend. Outstanding breakdown. Yeah, that you've put it all together.
I got you.
You got me, man. Yeah. Korey Thiesse, is there two or three things that you take away from, besides the obvious, of representing your country so well? How do you wrap it all up, Korey?
Corey did a great job wrapping it all up. It was just a dream come true for us to be there, and then to have the week that we had. For both of us playing in our first Olympics, you kind of never know how a week like that is going to go. And there was 10 incredible teams there that we kept saying any of these teams could be at the podium at the end of the week. So really proud of the way that we were able to play, and be able to just showcase all the hard work that we've put in for so long to be there. Also just to hear the buzz around our sport after it was all said and done. So Corey and I are actually off of social media the whole time. I was off of social media the entire month I was over there. So to log back in and see all of the followers we gained on social media, all of the videos of people watching curling, all of the messages. It was completely overwhelming in the best way possible. Just to see how many people were watching our sport and got really excited about it, and people that wanted to get out to their local curling club and give it a try, kids watching us, and parents saying that they've realized their Olympic dreams because of us. It's been really, really incredible. And also to get home, like Korey said, and be able to celebrate with everybody. And we've had a couple of school visits and gone down to talk with the juniors here at our Duluth Curling Club, and just to be able to share it with so many people has been really exciting.
I need to go a little deeper here. We talk a lot about the semifinals again, or the final. The semifinal, you're in there playing against the defending champions. Corey Dropkin will take this one. And you lose that one, it's really tough to get a bronze because it's the next team you're playing is just as good. You win the semi, and you're guaranteed on that podium. Can you please explain? Because we brought it up on every broadcast. We asked athletes, and lots of stories about the difference between the semifinal and the final. Can you kind of tell everybody listening in and watching in the difference in feeling, the deep down feeling before you go on the ice in the semifinal versus going on the ice in the final?
Yeah, I mean, it takes the edge off of the massive amounts of pressure that you feel. The Olympics is a different type of beast, way beyond the World Championships, just because of the magnitude of the situation and the event and all the cameras and all the people throughout the world watching. And, the U.S. hadn't won a medal in the Olympics in mixed doubles yet. And even more so importantly, there hasn't been a woman that's brought home a medal in the sport of curling from the U.S. And winning that semifinal game was way, way beyond, the feeling of being on the podium, but like we had just achieved something that had never been achieved before, and just such a proud moment to be able to, embrace each other and celebrate. And I mean, you saw the emotion on our sleeves after Corey made that shot, and a cry of joy in a way. And I know, personally, I found myself just, oh man, darn near in tears and kind of flying down the sheet of ice with my arms just fully sprawled open, feeling free and feeling we've finally done it. We've finally, made a dream come true. It wasn't just it wasn't promised yet to get the gold. And of course we didn't win that gold medal. We aren't yet Olympic champions, but I'll tell you what, we certainly do feel in a sense like little Olympic champions because of what we were able to achieve, and just the great week that we had. And Corey's an amazing ambassador and role model for all the young girls out there too that are growing up in this sport and now can see what you can achieve. And the both of us, it's an honor to be able to bring it back and hopefully inspire some kids too to continue dreaming and dream big.
So Corey T, what's or girl Corey, right? That's the way it's supposed to be said.
There you go.
Corey. When you got home, I really would like to know. I've had lots of people ask about various athletes, and I don't know the answer exactly. But you said you went back onto social. Do you respond to a lot of the people? Because it's got to be. I would have no idea. You guys really took off like a rocket ship as far as popularity during the Olympics. It was really something. Like you were off of social, but I wasn't, and it was crazy. Did you take the time to get back to some people? How do you handle that? Like, how do you deal with thousands and thousands and thousands or tens of thousands of people?
Yeah, that was a question I was asking myself too, right when I logged back in. It was completely overwhelming. And I'm like, do people answer all of these? Because if people take the time to reach out and say that they were cheering us on and wish us congratulations and, you were so amazing, I want to be able to respond to all of them. So I took a couple days for sure to just sort of decompress and kind of take it all in. But since then, I have tried. I'm absolutely not going to get around to all of them, but I've tried responding to a good majority of them. Yes, because we appreciate it. We appreciate people reaching out. It's been really fun to be able to engage with people that normally wouldn't give our sport a thought,
That's really good. Corey Dropkin too. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that too, because you guys really did hit a home run because I was doing NBC coverage, and it was wild. It was crazy. What have you managed to try to do with it? I don't know. I don't even know how to ask the question because the numbers would be astronomical.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, first things first is it's very flattering. It's very flattering seeing all of these people who have really taken a loving to the sport of curling, curling and mixed doubles curling, and reaching out to us and just sending a lot of kind words. Um, you know, as Corey said, it takes time, and I'm certainly not going to be able to get to all of them. In a way, it actually feels overwhelming. You know, when you go back on socials, when you turn the phone back on, I turned my phone completely off actually, just to minimize all the distractions. So I had an Italian phone number that 12 people had access to, and but yeah, when I turned that phone back on, man, it was flattering and overwhelming, and just super appreciative. But it's taken quite some time to work my way through the messages, and I want people to know that we appreciate all of the support and the engagement and the interactions, and the support that they have provided for us in our sport of curling.
Hey, Thiesse, I got my own handle for you, okay?
Yes,
I got my
love
own
it.
handle. Yeah. So listen, Thiesse, Corey had just mentioned about the overwhelmingness after the fact. When you get off the plane, when you arrive in Italy, I would imagine it would be a difficult thing to try and get your emotions under control. So talk about that. Like, there must have been a point where you're going, holy F, man, we're at the Olympics,
Yeah.
And to keep that in check, did you guys have a plan, like saying, okay, look at what are we going to do each day? After we play, or each evening, or how are we going to do it? Did you set out some sort of deal where you're going to be able to try and keep your emotions in check and keep everything on a level to be able to compete?
Yeah, it's a good question. We actually went to Switzerland for a week before we got to Italy. So we had a really great training camp there. And to be honest, Corey and I kept looking at each other that week saying, it kind of feels like we're just getting ready to go to another tournament. It doesn't feel like we're actually going to the Olympics. It's something that we've dreamed about forever, and, knew that we were going to go for quite a few months now. And then it was kind of like, when is it really going to hit us? And I think for me, it was, we got to Milan, and that's where we get all of our clothing, all of our opening and closing ceremony gear, all of the Team USA gear that they give us. They put on an incredible experience for us, and kind of, it's like this welcome to Team USA day. And it was completely incredible, and was, kind of this moment of, wow, we're actually here. We're part of Team USA. We're part of this bigger team. We're representing our country in the sport that we love on the biggest stage in the world. So that was pretty special, and also being able to walk in opening ceremonies amongst the rest of Team USA, also a very cool moment. The streets of Cortina were just lined with people. People were so excited to be there. That was a really cool experience. But I think for us, we feel so lucky to have some really incredible coaches with us. Our sports psychologist was with us the entire time in Italy as well, and we just did so much prep work leading into the Olympics on routines and sticking with our routines as a team. And, there's obviously so many distractions surrounding the Olympics, living in the village, all the media, everything that comes along with being a part of Team USA and at Olympic Games. And we did a lot of really great prep work leading into the games to just, have it kind of be like any other tournament that we've been at. It was pretty crazy the first time getting on the ice and sliding over the Olympic rings for the first time. But for the most part, I think it was just, relying on all the hard work that we put in, and just reminding ourselves that we've thrown a million curling shots, and this tournament is really no different. It's the same teams that we've played before, and kind of not letting ourselves sort of overthink too much, or overthink about, the outcome of what the week was going to be like, just focusing on ourselves and focusing on our process. And I think we did a really great job with that.
Sliding over the Olympic rings. Is that ever cool?
Yeah, we had to take a moment to say, wow, we're here. We just did that. Yep.
Yeah, cool. Hey, Drop, The merch is unbelievable, when you get it. Every Olympic athlete we've talked to, even Kevin back in his day, saying this is super cool. What did you head out with the first time? Like maybe the jacket, and going to Starbucks or something, and someone says, "Hey, that's a cool jacket. Where'd you get that?"
Yeah, it's crazy the experience that they put together, and all of this stuff that they give us, the swag and all. It's funny because you try on the opening and closing ceremonies outfits, with your regular shirt, and it's a fairly warm room, and you're putting on some really warm clothes, and I was just drenched in sweat after that process. And then you go from Polo Ralph Lauren to Nike, and then onwards, and so we were actually in the first article of apparel that I actually left with and put on was the Skims shirt. They're so comfortable, and just really just Team USA, and then it has of course the the flag and rings on the back, but just very comfortable article of clothing that I left wearing because I wanted to be comfortable for our 5-hour journey to Cortina from Milan. But when we got to Cortina finally, unpacking, trying things on, we had an extra couple big bags of swag that we had to go through, and hadn't quite seen what all is going to be in there. So it was a fun experience. I think that the next day I might have pulled out a one of the more, I'll call it decorative Polo Ralph Lauren USA zip ups that has quite a bit of red, white, and blue in there, and it's festive. It was comfortable, and there's so many different articles that are favorites too as well.
Well, I think we got to get. I want to talk about, and because it wasn't just the mixed doubles that did really well. I want to talk a little bit about the ladies too. Your guys' team with Tab. Because there was a really good chance. Now, you guys ended up getting fourth, which was a great result. Real good chance of not just breaking a record with being the first female U.S. curler getting a medal, but you came on the door, you're knocking on the door to getting two. I would like to hear your thoughts on the women's side of things, because you guys played outstanding, I thought.
Yeah, it was an incredible week, and it definitely stings to not be able to bring home a medal for sure. But yeah, just really proud of the way that we played. Looking back a year ago when we didn't secure our spot at the Olympics from the World Championships, we had a tough season that year as a team with the girls having 2 babies, and we had multiple different lineups throughout the season. We did not get the results we wanted. The World Championships didn't go well for us. We had a really great debrief after the Worlds and knew that we had to start our season early, and we had a lot of work to do to get to where we wanted to be. And obviously had a great week at trials and a great week at the OQE. And I know it sounds cliche, but I think it was really great for us to have to go through the OQE to secure our spot at the Olympics. Gave us a lot of extra really good games to play in, a lot of high pressure games. And I'm just so proud of the work that we put in this year to get to where we needed to be. And it felt like everything kind of fell into place for us during the Olympics, and we were able to put everything out there and give it our all. I also think it helps that, Tab and Tara have been to the Olympics before. I was an alternate in 2018. I was on the ice the week before for mixed doubles. So there was a lot of confidence going into that, and a lot of, almost calmness. Like, we've been here before and we know what we need to do. So we were able to kind of lean on each other a lot, and so proud of Taylor for it being her first Olympics and playing the way that she played. It was a really incredible week. I'm really proud of the girls.
Well, your numbers were fantastic as a team, 82% for the week, and so that type of stuff. It just doesn't. It's not a fluke when you show the big numbers. Just the percentages. Tab was incredible with her draw weight. I thought just out of this world. So let's go a little bit more into USA curling, because obviously you guys have had a really big last little while. The men's team did great. Casper darn near made the playoffs. And now Hebert just picked up the World Junior. the girls, the Johnson girls, made the playoffs, but ended up getting fourth. But another good finish. I was talking to Brett Jackson, the chair for USA, yesterday, and about a bunch of different things. I just asked him straight up. What I'm going to ask you is, you guys' thoughts on the momentum of Korey Dropkin. I'd love to hear from the momentum of USA curling right now with juniors, junior men's, junior women's, men's, mixed doubles. And the Paralympics started, and one of the favorites there is US too.
Yeah, it's so great to see, and oh my gosh, shout out to both the teams, Johnson and Bear, but Kate and Bear and the boys bringing home the gold. Let's go! That's just awesome. It was fun following along both teams. Those are two teams that we've watched grow up and develop and get so good over the last handful of years. And so just so happy for them. What I think has been really important to some of these teams that are really excelling is that they're all starting to move to a central location to practice together. If you look at both of those two junior teams, they are all local to each other, and able to practice on the daily. You look at Danny Casper's boys; they all moved to Minneapolis and are able to practice together, and that's paid off a lot. Thankfully, Cory and I both live in Duluth, and that's been amazing for us. Except for Cory, of course, the rest of her ladies are down in the cities too. There's a lot to gain from that, and you see that too in Scotland with their program and everyone practicing in Stirling in their training center, which is surreal. But USA Curling, we've got a program, we've got a lot of athletes that are talented and that just want to get great. And we've had our setbacks. There's years of them. But we're trying our best to learn, we're trying our best to improve, and when we get that opportunity to really make the most of it. We haven't had a junior boys and girls team that have been in the World A's for a little while together. And they succeeded in getting that back, and even better, they were both in playoff games. One of them won it, and one of them took fourth. And we're so proud of them for what they've been able to achieve this season. We're proud of all the teams that were at the Olympics. It was an honor to be there, but also to be able to watch the ladies and the men compete. Danny and those boys competing for their first time, especially, and the way that they were able to manage it, and there's a lot of pressures that come with that. But watch out. We've got a lot of talented athletes coming up, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens over this next quad, to see where the program goes, the national team. I know that we're hiring, for a director. So we'll see kind of what leadership looks like, who's stepping in, and what the program looks like. But we got a lot of really dedicated, really talented individuals, teams, and we want to put curling on the map worldwide for the U.S. and grow the sport as much as we can.
I'd like to hear Corey Thiesse about the depth on the men's side. I think it's pretty clear. There's a lot of depth because you're starting with Shusty, of course, going back to the Worlds, Korey Dropkin and company in that age, and then you've got Casper, and then you've got Hebert. You just like a depth, like a ladder of great athletes. On the women's side, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the depth on the female side. I've had a few people send emails to me and wondering about that. And I go, okay, well, we'll talk about it because I let them know that we're talking to Korey and Cory on the podcast. So your thoughts on that? Because obviously the Johnson girls, Ellery and company are great. How is the depth looking on the female side?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a little bit different than the guys' side. But I think we have some really solid teams. I think we have some really solid players up and coming. Strauss's team just won our nationals last week, so really excited to see them get the opportunity to go to Worlds and some experience there. Elizabeth Cousins' team, another really great team that we've battled against. We went an extra end against them at the national championships last year. Battled against them at the trials, so they're a really great up-and-coming team. Those Johnson girls, every time I'm down at the Blaine Curling Club, they're practicing. They work so hard. They're a great team that's up and coming, and Like Korey said, I think we have a lot of talent, and I think this is a really exciting finish for the U.S. Um, in the USOPC's eyes, doing well at the Olympics leads to more funding money, hopefully. I think that's a little bit of something that we're lacking here in the US. I don't think it comes as much of a surprise. We're competing against a lot of full-time athletes, and we are not that. So hopefully, more funding, more resources, and it'll be interesting to see what happens these next 4 years with the new director. And yeah, I think we have the talent. It's exciting to see this sort of develop.
Hey, Drop. It's been a long time, Jimbo. Yeah, you can call me Jimbo. It's been a long time now since Canada does not own the game of curling, or as one of the top countries. That day is long gone. So that's obviously due to the growth of the game. But please tell me, when you do go into an event like you did, that you still want to kick Canada's ass. Okay, that would be
Every single time.
Yeah, good. Okay, all right. So we're we're still
Absolutely.
there. Then. Yeah.
I mean, I think the U.S. and Canada. I think both teams, no matter who's representing, I think they're both on the same page. They want to kick the other's ass.
Sure.
100%.
Good.
There's always going to be that rivalry in any sport. It's the battle of the border, right? But and I'll tell you what, it was really sweet in mixed doubles. But
yeah.
There's always going to be that rivalry, and Canada still has so many of the best teams in the world, and but the world's responding, and you see that watching the Olympics, you see that watching Worlds, and it's great to see. We need the sport to grow in all the countries surrounding. We need the sport to grow in the U.S. It's something that's a long time coming, and so I'm happy to see it, and hopefully we can continue to grow.
Yeah. Thiesse, there's no doubt Shusty, right, have did so much for U.S. curling. I think I was reading today he's like 5-time Olympian or something like that. But that he's been to the Olympics. You've given us 3 or 4 things certainly that have added to the growth of curling worldwide. And is there anything else, Korey, that you talked about the funding's got to be picked up, that you can put your finger on why it's growing so rapidly in the States?
That's a good question. I think we're just getting so much more exposure for our sport. We're seeing curling clubs pop up in places that you'd never expect there to be curling in some of the southern states. We just had our national championships in Charlotte, which is a place that you wouldn't consider would have any sort of ties to curling, but they have an incredible curling community down there. We're seeing curling clubs pop up in places that you wouldn't expect. We're hopefully getting curling out there more from the Olympics, through Rock League. We're really excited to be a part of Rock League coming up in April. People fall in love with curling every 4 years, and then, there's kind of nothing to watch after that. They're like, we just watched curling every single day for the last month, and now what do? I don't have any curling to watch. So hopefully that's a way for people to continue watching the sport, get excited about the sport, hopefully get it on TV more. But yeah, it is really exciting to be a part of it. I know our curling club here in Duluth had a Learn to Curl just last weekend. Just after the Olympics, there was so many people that wanted to try it, and they ended up having to open up another Learn to Curl because it filled up so fast. I think there was 150 some people that came down to try curling. So it's really exciting and really cool to be a part of it.
Hey, Korey Dropkin. So I phoned a couple of clubs around Edmonton because we had heard all kinds of people wanting to try curling. In Canada too, both sides of the border. Leduc Curling Club, it's about a half hour from Edmonton. You've probably been there. They had a 60% increase in people wanting to try curling and 80% increase in corporate interest as far as like team building days and corporate outings and all of that. 80% increase in the last couple of months. Have you talked to any of the clubs around, and what's going on? Like at Duluth, obviously we hit a home run. Mind you, that makes sense. That's where you guys are from, so everybody wants to try it. But what have you heard, Korey Dropkin?
I'll be honest with you, Kevin. I I almost feel out of touch, out of the loop with so much right now. We've been home for about a week, and we're just trying to get our feet under us. We're catching up with all the loved ones and a lot of close friends, and getting caught up with work. I haven't had the time to reach out to other clubs and see kind of what the spiral effect has been. What we have been told just in our conversations is that the Olympics has had just an amazing reaction and impression on the popularity of the sport and people wanting to try it, people loving watching it, watching the energy behind the sport too that was portrayed this Olympics. That's a big deal, and we need to continue to push that as well. It would be wonderful to see a network really back it in the United States to be able to actually show some curling a bit more frequently on a week to week, month to month, whatever it is basis instead of every 4 years. But there are individuals at other clubs that have reached out saying that they've just had some massive watch parties, sending videos of so many people getting together and celebrating and watching so many of the games during the Olympics. And so there's a lot of hype around it. I'm sure, there's so many Learn to Curls that are, being, having lots of success and hopefully there's lots of new members signing up, and especially, lots of, new young kids, young curlers that want to, try the sport out and dream a big dream. Because that's what we need. We need those little dreamers that are wanting to take the sport up and pursue these big aspirations, really in whatever they do. But hopefully, fingers crossed, we got some dreamers that want to start curling now.
Yeah, the reason I asked was because Todd Burr, from you were mentioning Blaine and Four Seasons Curling Club, I reached out to him. I just sent him a text. I forget what I was asking him. He didn't get back to me for like 3 days, and he always gets back right away. And he says, "Sorry, I couldn't get back. I'm so busy with all the Learn to Curls."
Oh, really?
So they're just churning, putting
awesome.
people through like crazy. Well, it's awesome. Yeah. That's why I asked. I thought for sure Duluth, because it's your club, and I know for sure Todd was busy in his club. So then I just kind of wondered, and I know Leduc is getting crazy with their club. So I just don't know. And maybe if people want to email us at insidecurling@gmail.com and let us know what your club's doing. I would love to know what's going on.
I figured you had a follow up, and you knew some of the answer behind that too. You always do.
He always does. Like
You
a good
always do.
lawyer, you know the answer to the
I
question.
know.
Yeah, he's done.
100%. I'm like, I'll add to this, but here, take the stage, Kev.
I've got. I'd like to hear from both of you on this. I think the game of curling, talking about peak performers like yourself, the novices are getting involved. We just talked about this for a few minutes. About the growth at the club level and all that. It seems to me we're on the precipice here. We're right at a turning point for professional curling. You guys are underpaid. There's not, it's right at a spot where it's okay. Where's this going to go professionally? You just said, Thiesse, you can't curl full time. It's underfunded. Are you, Thiesse? Are you robust about the future for professional curling, or do you worry about it, or where do you think it's at right now and where it's going to go?
Yeah, that's a good question. I hope we'll get there at some point. I think these things take time for sure. And I think what we just did as Team USA at the Olympics was really important and kind of a first big step to that. But, like I said, these things take time, and I hope that eventually we'll get there, and I hope it's within my time of curling. But again, I'm really excited about the Rock League as well. I think that's going to be a huge step for our sport, and hopefully getting some big sponsor dollars in there as well. Most of our funding for our national team just comes from the U.S. Olympic Committee, but if we're able to bring in some big sponsors for Rock League or for teams specifically, and a lot of that, like Korey mentioned, is getting those TV deals, getting us on TV and being able to have something to sort of advertise for these big companies. So I'm hopeful that we're getting there for sure.
Drop? What do you say?
Yeah, I think Rock League's gonna be huge. It's gonna be a great opportunity to sort of rebrand the sport and show the energy that we started to see at the Olympics. We started to see a lot of athletes show, their emotions on their sleeves and really bring a whole different level of energy to the game. And I think the crowd wants that. I think the younger viewer especially wants to see that. It helps make this sport more exciting and it helps make it more marketable. And with that too is also providing a little bit of a shorter game. And I know that Rock League, I know the curling group is working on doing that too. That's definitely one of their big goals. And fingers crossed. Hope's not a great strategy, but we just need to keep knocking on doors, making phone calls, and just trying to create opportunities to be the next big thing, to get that exposure that we need and that we deserve truly as a sport. So that's, I'm very optimistic about this upcoming week in April with Rock League and what it's going to bring to the community of curlers, but to the world as well.
Well said, both of you. This was fantastic. Well done. Congratulations on the silver medal. Cory, Thiesse, and Drop. You look like a snowboarder, Drop. You look like a Shaun White, the hoodie, the hat, right?
The only thing I'm missing is the gold medal, man. The only thing I'm missing is the gold medal and the big dollar deals. So
yeah, there you go.
Oh man.
Yeah. Let's see the flow. Let's see. Take your hat off. Don't you have the?
Well, usually if you're Sean, you maybe put that up, but yeah, we'll take it off.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We gotta grow this out. That way it comes down and you get that big smile.
Yeah. Kevin and I were gonna do that with our salad. Yeah. Thanks a million, you guys. You give me goosebumps when I've always said this when we get to talk to Olympians, and well done, super cool. You're both just wonderful people. You're the best guests we've had, and okay, all other guests. Okay, just relax. Okay, just relax. But you guys are fantastic. So thanks very much for coming on, and good luck the rest of your life. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks for having
Appreciate y'all
us.
having us.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Cheers,
Thanks.
guys.